Legend of Total War here, and today we're doing another Total War mod review, this time covering Europa Barbarorum 2, which is a modification of Medieval 2, and also the spiritual successor to Rome 1's Europa Barbarorum. Alright, so let's firstly talk about what factions you can play as. Comparing it to EB1, there are 8 more playable factions, but I'll go through them all. It sets the scenario of the Rise of the Republic sort of thing again, where, just sort of expansion of the Roman Republic, I suppose. The 272 BC start date, really before Rome really significantly expanded as a state. Anyway, so you've got SPQR Rome playable. You've got Carthage, Macedon, Epirus, Koinon and Helenon, so it's the Greek city-states. It's been split up a little bit. There are some more Greek city-states, but not the historically accurate number. Arch Seleucia, so Seleucid Empire, Ptolemaic, Egypt, Bactria, Hayastan, so that's Armenia, Pontus, Parthia, Idui, Arverni, the Britanoi, which is the Britannic faction. You've got the Lusitani, the Suebos, the Getae, the Saba, Saka Rauka, the Sauramatai, the Massacili, so the Numidians, Pergamon, Taxila, which is an Indian faction, so that's awesome. You've got the Lugiones, which is a Germanic faction. You've got the Bosphorus, which is a local selection of Scythian, Sarmatian local warriors and some small core of Hellenistic troops. Bit of a hybrid faction. These ones here weren't in EB1. You've got the Ariakoi, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. The Iberian faction. You got the Boyoi, another Germanic faction, and Nabatea. So these 8 here weren't in EB1. Anyway, let's jump into the campaign map and I'll talk a bit more about that. Alright, so here we are on the campaign map, and it's pretty much the same thing as what we've seen in EB1. Big campaign map that spreads from the edge of western part of Iberia and West Africa to the edge of India here, the west coast of India. Huge map, about 198 conquerable settlements. There's another one down here that's you're not supposed to be able to conquer it, but you can cheat to get it. So if you do that, you can get 199 settlements. So a lot of settlements to conquer, lots to do on the campaign map. We're 57 turns into this particular campaign, and I've probably put about 10 hours into this so far. So it is a much slower paced campaign than Vanilla Rome 1 or Medieval 2. So talking about the campaign aspect so far, there's a lot of scripts involved in how the game plays. It's very, very script orientated, and I don't want to go through and do a guide on all the different scripts because we will literally be here all day, and I've only really scratched the surface on them. But from those that I've played so far, I have to admit they are a little bit on the boring side of things, for me personally. I don't really enjoy scripted campaigns very much. I much prefer sandbox experiences. And there's a lot of really finicky things that you have to do. Just talking about the Romans, a lot of really finicky things that you have to do in order to just to play the damn game, really. Like building up your governments and getting elected to senatorial positions. Your governors or your generals need to be in Rome in winter to be elected to anything in order to be eligible to do their job elsewhere. But the thing is, as you expand out in these areas, it's going to be more and more difficult to get them back to Rome and then get them back to their positions, and it does seem it really, really slows you down. The pace of the campaign is, to say that it's at a snail's pace is an insult to snail's pace. It is probably one of the slowest paced campaigns I've ever experienced. Now that's not a plus for me, but I know that some people would love this to be super slow. Okay, so the main thing about this mod to take into consideration, this is a very difficult mod to review. Probably the most difficult mod review I've ever had to do, because it's so complex. This is not going to be a mod that everybody is just going to universally love. This is not going to be a super popular mod like Stainless Steel 6.4. Okay, this is going to be a very niche mod. Some people are going to love this mod because it's designed specifically for them. If you like historical accuracy, if you like slow-ass fucking battles and slow campaign, this is for you, and you will adore this mod. There's no doubt about it. But if you have any other interests aside from that, like if you want a fast-paced campaign, you want fast-paced battles, you want micro heavy battles, bigger battles or something like that, if you want to get risk reward situations and get a quick fix out of your Total War games, relatively speaking, then this is not for you at all. Now, I would say that my attention span over the past few years has definitely gotten a lot shorter for these kind of games, these kind of mods. Back in the day when I was playing EB1, I was able to, put in a month into a single campaign in EB1 and, adore it. But these days, with more responsibilities and having played Total War for so long, I get burnout way faster. And I think a lot of people do these days as well. So I think it's EB2 hasn't evolved with the times. Even though it's arguably better than EB1 in some areas and not better in other areas, the problem is it's EB1 came out at like the perfect time for it, where there was a big desire for just more Rome Total War. And now I think people are sort of moving away from that a little bit. Not everyone, but some people moving away from really long campaigns. People have shorter attention spans these days, at least from my experience. And having a campaign that you have to put in at least 200 to 400 hours in order to get to victory conditions, I don't think a lot of people are going to have the patience for that, especially when battles are so slow paced and that your victories just don't feel rewarding, and that when you build things it doesn't feel rewarding. Like going through some of this stuff, I'm building things merely because I've got the money, not because I need it, because a lot of these buildings just don't really do very much. Some of them are good, but most of them aren't. So if we take the Temple of Jupiter for example here, we've got the Shrine of Jupiter, 10% public order due to law, civil building construction time minus 10%, and costs 150 in upkeep. And then we go to the next one, which takes 10 turns and costs 6,400 gold, and it provides 5% extra law, reduces civil building construction time by 5% extra, and reduces trade goods by a little bit. So looking at that, it's a very small amount, and 1481 it goes down a little bit. You just don't get much out of your buildings. And even in EB1, I did feel like you got a lot more out of it. And then you've got buildings such as this. That's actually one of the best building chains. And you got something like this, right? The mines, which if we go through it, okay, that there makes 120. And it seems like most regions can build mines, but it costs 1,400 to build. Sorry, 14,000 to build, and also reduces public order. Now, public order is more important than gold in this, and that amount of gold does not make up for it. So, in this instance here, you wouldn't purchase it. There's really... unless you had loads of public order and loads of money that you just wanted to waste. Because, here's the thing as well. That would take more than 100 turns for you to make your money back off that investment. 100 turns. Now, even though it's 4 turns per year, that's still a very long time. And if you take something like Capula's mine, where it's 45 income, it's almost a third of this. You're looking at nearly 300 turns to get your, or maybe even more than 300 turns to get your money back on that. It's too long. Some of the buildings in this just don't provide enough of a bonus. It's just such a slow slog to get to where you need to be. And like there's some cool concepts behind it all. There really is. Like the way the government system works, the ideas behind it are really cool. But unfortunately, it's just so slow, and that's the big drawback to it. You have to put in absurd amounts of time in order to really get benefits out of this. And the thing is, you could just recruit more troops and just conquer another settlement, and you end up making more profit. But then again, they take a long time to stabilize as well. So this one here, we've had this for like at least 20 turns, and it just refuses to stabilize. So it might be because they put the Roman province in there. That might be why. I'm still experimenting with a few things. I made this one a free city, and it seems to be stabilizing a little bit better, but I do have a very large army in there still. It's not making a profit. So you got to weigh up between these sort of things. I'm certainly not going to sit here and say that I've mastered this mod, but at the same time as well, I have no desire to master it. This game doesn't provide you with enough rewards to incentivize the player to try to be good at it. This is the thing about Medieval 2, right? Medieval 2 is a relatively easy game, but that's largely because the people who play it love it, right? You love it, you're incentivized to get better at it. You get better at it, you keep getting better at it, and eventually it gets so damn easy because you've been given all of these incentives to master it. Now, the problem with EB2 is that some people are going to master it, okay? But a lot of people are going to be like, oh, I'm tired of these damn fucking 1 hour long battles, and they'll do what I do and just hit the +6 times scale and just wait for the fucking battle to be over, and don't care if they took 50% extra casualties because they just want the fucking thing to be over. And that's kind of how I felt throughout a lot of it. It's the same thing with these buildings. I'm just like, oh, I don't want to build anything because there's not much value in any of them. And it, you know, there's got to be value in the time that you place in it. And I don't think that EB2 really gives you that value. Now, a lot of the settlements out here are rebel controlled, and a lot of them have scripts, and a lot of base unrest as well. They can be very frustrating to deal with. In all honesty, I would much prefer the AI to just deal with these things. But I've been keeping an eye on Carthage here. The past 57 turns, they've tried repeatedly to capture Messana and Syracuse, and they have failed every single time because the rebels are stronger than the factions in this. So it never ends up happening most of the time. Sometimes they end up capturing a rebel settlement, but you don't really feel a need of pressure to compete with the AI, because the AI is going to waste so much resources in capturing these settlements out here. So, I don't know, it's a balancing issue. It's a difficult thing to balance, I imagine. The AI, like, I've mainly been fighting against Epirus, and they've more or less been a pushover to deal with. The rebels are the ones that give me the hard time. Epirus has been pretty easy. Like, I took these 2 settlements with bloody ease, and the big problem here is just maintaining public order. That's the big problem. Like, we have to stay here for such a long time. Like, these kind of buildings here, they reduce the amount of money you make, but they increase happiness. Or you Romanize it, and you increase your income but decrease happiness. So you have to weigh all this stuff up all the time. Another thing to talk about is the soundtrack in this. Now, I did slam the EB1 soundtrack, and EB2 uses the same soundtrack, but they seem to have added a few extra clips that I don't recall hearing in EB1. Now, the soundtrack is awful in EB1. Sorry, in just EB in general, Europa Barbarorum. Rome 1 and Medieval 2 have some of the best gaming soundtracks of all time, in my opinion. And they replaced it with basically ear rape. Not so much on the campaign map. It's pretty easy listening to. It's, you know, flute sounds and the lyre and harps and that kind of stuff. That's fine. But when you get into the battle map and you hear the trumpets and the horns and the fucking didgeridoos, okay, it's whenever I hear a didgeridoo, and I just think to myself, okay, that's an Aboriginal, Australian Aboriginal instrument, and quite frankly, it sounds like shit, and it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. It shouldn't be in here, I think personally. For one thing, aesthetically, it's not aesthetically pleasing music, and there's a lot of really jarring soundtracks, like things like it sounds like they're just blowing into a bottle of water constantly. Like this is what it sounds like. I just got my bottle of water here. This is what the soundtrack sounds like. It's just so boring listening to that shit. In fact, just bear with me. I'll get one of the soundtracks up so you can hear it. Okay, so I'm gonna play a soundtrack that occurs pretty regularly throughout the campaign when you're on the battle. So just listen to this. Okay, so it's hard to listen to that kind of shit. And there's more in there that are just as jarring, and you'll hear them pretty regularly. Not all the time, some of the tracks are okay, but some of them are just goddamn disgusting to listen to. And they were in EB1, and I can't imagine they got much praise for that stuff. Now, I get that they tried to make it historically accurate, but at the same time, historical accuracy doesn't... I can't forgive historical accuracy if it's going to be jarring and crap to listen to. Like, if you're going to make it historically accurate, it also has to be aesthetically pleasing to listen to as well. So I'm probably banging on a little bit more about the music, but I think the thing is that I really do actually enjoy the game soundtracks, and when I'm in a battle and I hear this soundtrack, it aggravates me. I don't feel inspired like when I hear War of Kings or Imperial March or whatever it is. I don't feel inspired. I get angry. I'm just like, turn this shit off. That's what I feel like when I hear it. And I don't think that's what the mods should be aiming to do, even if it is historically accurate. Now, I did also put a straw poll through one of my live streams when I was playing this to gauge what other people felt about it, because I could be, you know, a stick in the mud about these sort of things. I could be a bit of a prick. And maybe my opinion is not the same as everyone else's, so I checked what other people thought. 20% of people loved the music, and that's cool. 20% loved it. That's 1 in 5. But the other 80% said they either hated the music or felt nothing towards it. And I thought that was a pretty clear indication that the soundtracks do not do what they should be doing, which is to provide a layered experience to the game, which is to say, you know, visually pleasing, audibly pleasing game experience. It doesn't provide that. Now, EB1 didn't do that either, but this is in some cases worse. Anyway, let's jump into a battle now, and I'll show you guys the pace of the fighting. Okay, so here we are at the Siege of Sparta. So I set my army down to go and capture the town. And what we want to do is we just want to get a pacing for it. Obviously, there's not much the AI can do to beat us in this instance. And it's not about that, it's just about trying to decide to show you guys the pacing. Now, I'm just going to sort out... My army is a dog's breakfast, I'm aware of that. But it uses the Medieval 2 recruiting system, which means that you can't just spam one unit type. So you just have to hire with whatever you can that's available. Which means your armies are going to end up in a dog's breakfast, because, like Hastati as an example, some of the units take like up to 30 turns in some settlements to regenerate, so you literally just can't have a really organized force. Not at this stage anyway, if you want to have a full stack army. And unfortunately my army here, not really designed for a siege, not a lot of infantry, a lot of cavalry, because my cavalry just don't usually get that killed, because I don't end up using them. But I've got them just there for if I ever did need them. Alright, so let's get in there. Another thing that I've noticed about this as well is that skirmishers, slingers, javelins, archers, have pretty low impact. As in, they could use up all of their ammo and not really kill all that much. So when somebody is shooting at me, I don't really worry too much. Like this unit here has been being shot by the towers, and not much damage has really been done to them. Now it seems like in terms of units, the balancing's a little bit off. There's a big focus on pikes. Pikes are very strong in this, and because it's Medieval 2 and not Rome 1, they don't derp out as soon as they go into a settlement. They actually perform reasonably well, but they are the largest unit sizes. They get up to the full 240, whereas Roman units might have 160 men in their units. So definitely there's a giant boner for pikes. For pike warfare in this, which, you know, I don't like pike warfare. It's not really my favorite thing. So it's the mod is doing a lot of things that doesn't appeal to me personally, because I'm a big Romophile. You know, I like Rome. Now that doesn't mean I need to see Rome be overpowered, but at the same time we do see sort of the Greeks get a bit overpowered, I think. Anyway, so this fight will go on for a while. We've killed 7 to 18%. We've got on 6 times speed, it'll just go on for ages. Now, putting our archers, you know, up on the walls and stuff like that and trying to shoot at them, that isn't really going to do anything. And since there's no boiling oil and the towers basically do no damage, like these guys here have lost barely anything. There's pretty much no risk in sending a ram in. There's no flaming arrows in this at all. Archers do not use flaming arrows. So we've got here some Cretan archers. They have no access to flaming arrows. I don't know why they've taken that out. I guess they want to make it more historically accurate. So that unit broke only when it was like 1 man left. But yeah, like these are nothing special, these units here. They fight for a really long time. So they'll do their thing. Cavalry charges have about the impact of a wet noodle. Which is it's a cool saying. I actually like that one to describe something that has low impact. I've seen cavalry charges that charge into the rear of units that totally had no chance to turn around, and they didn't break them and caused like a handful of casualties. Sometimes they will break them, but usually that's after you've killed the enemy general and the unit's completely exhausted. But most of the time the cavalry charges are pretty poor. Javelins as well, like I've said, they just don't really do much. Another thing that's really weird with it as well is that when the men shoot their javelins, they sort of step forward. It's kind of like with Napoleon Total War when you have fire in advance. And so if you want to keep a really neat line and have javelin armed infantry, you're not going to be able to keep a straight line. It'll get very messy very quickly. And I have found that the pitched battles it turns into absolute shit almost straight away. It's just a complete fucking mess. So if you like to really structure your lines and keep things all nice and tidy and prevent blobbing, that's not how things happen in EB2. Unless you really micromanage the shit out of it, and it's not worth bothering, in my opinion. You just let the fights go out, let the infantry do their thing, try to keep your general close by to keep their morale on order, and keep cycle charging. It's seemingly what you do. So they've got their Spartan hoplites here, and they're slowly losing men. Very slowly. But their pace is, like I said, it's very, very slow. Because this isn't on one-time speed, this is going very fast right now. Another thing as well, that if you put units in here and try to cap the town square, it's a 20-minute capture time. So, I mean, I don't really like winning via that way, but it can be very helpful if you've crowded this area around here, and the enemy units just refuse to die. But 20 minutes is a very long time to wait. But as far as what the AI does, they seem to be pretty confident. The AI will send their generals into combat pretty early on, but the generals themselves, they seem to be the last ones to die in their unit. So they've done things to make up for the AI's lack of intelligence, which is all you can really do with these sort of games. But at the same time, the slow-paced battles are just very boring. So yeah, if I take him, go around the back here, and I go stand over here. Like I said, 20 minutes it'll take to capture that. And these guys are all coming down off the walls. But since we've pretty much blocked the area here, they're not going to get through us. Not really too focused on like trying to showcase how awesome I am at battles in this. I just really want to show the pacing. So sending these guys to fight spearmen, it's okay. Like I said, I'm not really going to play this campaign after beyond this battle anyway, so it just doesn't bother me. So if this was vanilla, I would have capped the town by now. But luckily they all broke because we just killed their general. So cool, end the battle. But it certainly did take a long time. That was a relatively small battle. There's only 612 of them in there, and it took a long time. It really did. But if this was 2,000 men in here, hour-long battle without a doubt, because I would have had to have made more careful decisions. I obviously wasn't even trying to be careful in this one. Anyway, let's go back to the campaign map, and we'll wrap this up with a few final thoughts. All right. So in summary. Is this a good mod? Absolutely. It is an amazing mod. The modders set out with an ambitious goal, and they achieved it. Is it going to be a popular mod? No, I don't think so. I don't think this has mass appeal. I think that EB1 had a lot more appeal due to it being a little bit more accessible, let's say. It was very slow-paced, but also, in terms of the times, I think that the people who play Total War these days have a much shorter attention span. I mean, you'll even see it with Total War Warhammer and stuff like that. People want the next DLC immediately. People aren't willing to wait 2 to 3 years between next titles. So I don't think this is going to have the same mass appeal that EB1 had. I certainly just can't seem to get any real enjoyment out of it, and I just really struggle to just enjoy my time playing this mod. But I can recognize that it's very, very well made. Very well made. Like, all of the units look very nice. They look very different. They look historically accurate as far as I know. The scripts do exactly as what they're intended to do, and it's very impressive what they've done with it. But the problem is, again, their intentions were to really slow you down, and I don't want to be slowed down that much. It's too slow. So my recommendation to the mod developers who are still working on this is speed the pace of the campaign and speed the pace of the battles by at least 50%, because people's attention spans are just not going to be able to hold on that long. There's only going to be very few people, I think, that are going to be willing to put in the time needed to, you know, properly give this mod justice, and that's a real shame, but that's just sort of the way I feel like the way things are right now. And I know that so much effort and time is being put into this, and I think it would be such a waste if more people don't download this. It is more stable than EB1, which is great, but it's still not particularly stable. It will crash after several hours of gameplay, but EB1 would crash, you know, after every battle sometimes, or once every second, after every second battle it would crash. So it is more stable than that. Pathfinding is obviously a lot better because it's Medieval 2. It doesn't feel a lot like Medieval 2 when I play it, even though it is. That's because a lot of the things and improvements that were introduced into Medieval 2 have been stripped out. Like, there is no chivalry and dread feature. It's just confidence, but confidence is chivalry, except that it doesn't provide a population growth bonus. Trade doesn't provide a population growth bonus either. These are things that were in Medieval 2. Good things that were in Medieval 2, so they just stripped that out. It seems like they took Medieval 2 and then reverted it straight back to Rome 1. And I just don't get it. There's so many good things about Medieval 2 that you could utilize, and they just didn't. In addition to that, you can't build forts anymore. They've taken it out. You can build watchtowers, but no more forts. For me personally, I feel like building forts is an integral part of playing as Rome. And while there are forts in the game, they are permanent forts that have pretty bad placing, I think. And it's just not particularly good. So, my overall thoughts are this. Should you download this? I don't know. It comes down to your personal preference. It's a good mod. It's not going to be for everyone. It's going to, like I said at the beginning, it's going to come down to whether you are desperate for historical accuracy and whether you just want to spend the next 2 months of your life playing one single campaign. But if you're looking for, you know, a faster paced campaign with high octane energy and all that kind of stuff, this will put you to sleep better than a sleeping tablet, I think. It's very low energy, very slow. The battle music is not energizing. The battle pace is incredibly snail pace, it's very slow. The campaign pace is very slow. It's not going to be for everyone. I am probably not going to play this mod again after today. It's just I don't have time for it, and it hasn't sold me on its mechanics over EB1. Like, I would actually prefer to play EB1, and I feel like I'm done with EB1 as someone who's put in like 1,000 hours into it. So that's my thoughts to it. It's a good mod. It's not going to be for everyone. You know, download with caution because it is a very big download. Make sure you follow the instructions. I will put a link in the description if you want to download the mod. I can't stress enough, follow the instructions. One thing though is that I found that you didn't need to take the Medieval 2 folder out of the Steam folder, but then again, the mod creators say that there's going to be script issues as well if you don't do that. But since I don't intend to play beyond turn 60, that doesn't really matter to me. Like, I don't really care that much for the scripts. I just find them to be a little bit irritating. In addition to that, be aware that there is no autosave feature. It's been removed. So save your game regularly. Don't use quicksave, apparently. Quicksave, apparently, according to what people told me, actually causes corruptions in the save files. So be careful with that. And if you do download it, I hope you guys enjoy it. And I hope I've provided you guys with enough information that you can make a decision as to whether or not you want to get it accurately. That's the main purpose of doing these mod reviews. You know, I'm not here to suck anyone's dick on these mod developers, and at the same time, I'm not here to slam them down. I'm trying to give as much of a balanced thought as to it. And as I said, it's not going to be for everyone. It will certainly be for some people. Some people will adore it. Other people, like myself, I'm just going to give it a pass. Anyway, let me know in the chat below, in the comments below, what mod you'd like me to cover next. The most upvoted suggestion is what I'll cover next, regardless of what the mod is. Please make it like an overhaul mod, not like a graphic mod, because otherwise, you know, that'll take like 5 seconds to review. Anyway, that's the end of this one, and I'll see you next time, fuckers.